Lord Vishnu's instructions unto Prthu Maharaj. So beginning with, please forgive Indra, who is feeling shame for his activities. And then he began to say that a person like you, who is already a highly evolved person, should not think in terms of bodily identification, because one can never kill the soul. Soul is eternal and there is no need of thinking about the body. So don't worry about these superficial activities. Concentrate on Atma Jnana. So in that context, he talked about different distinctions between Atma and Paramatma. At the basic level, we can use the same words to see the distinction between the body and Atma. But on the higher level, one should see the distinction between Atma and Paramatma that we discussed yesterday. If one continues with that consciousness, with the proper understanding of Atma and Paramatma, that person, having known about Paramatma, situated in the self, in the Brahmabhuta platform, though situated in the body, he is still in Jivan Mukta platform only. He is not affected by the gunas of the body, since he is situated in me. Sa Mayi Sthita. That person is not at all disturbed by the three modes of material nature. Eventually, with that realization, if he continues further and further, very soon he will attain Brahma Kaivalya. How? One who without material desire, worshipping me regularly with faith, though through his duties, gradually develops a satisfied mind. So this is a general instruction for the people in general. One should perform one's Varnashrama duties as an offering to Supreme Lord. Swa Anushtitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhim Haritoshanam. One gets Harit Samsiddhi, perfection of one's activities, perfection of one's life, only when Vishnu is satisfied by one's activities. So that is being indicated. When Vishnu is satisfied with one's activities, Paramatma is satisfied, Atma is satisfied, then mind is satisfied. Only a peaceful mind does not have any material desires. As long as mind is not peaceful, it will have so many material desires. So with a peaceful mind, when one continues to meditate upon the Supreme Lord, one is not at all bewildered by the gunas. One will be able to see things in their proper perspective, samyak darshana. And that person eventually attains shantim ashnute. Here shanti means not the peace, the so-called material peace. Shanti means liberation. What kind of liberation? A position of non-difference called Brahman or Kaivalya. Sa me sama avasthanam. Me sama avasthanam. Avasthanam means situation. Me sama means similar to me. A transcendental situation similar to like mine. Madbhavam. Madbhava yopapaddhate. Bhagavad Gita, it came many times. Antakalecha maminiva smaranmukta kalevaram. Nati yatra samshaya. So madbhava, it in both the cases, it can be sarupya mukti with a similar bodily feature, similar consciousness. It can be entry into Brahman also. So both the cases, it is applicable. So here the Shanti indicates attaining Sahajya Mukti. Shanti generally indicates Sahajya Mukti, according to Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is where we stopped last class, and we'll continue from verse number 11 onwards. Udasinam ivadhyaksham dravya jnana kriyaatmanam Kutastam imam atmanam yo vedapnoti shobhanam.
Anyone who knows that this material body, made of the 5 gross elements, the sense organs, the working senses, and the mind, is simply supervised by the fixed soul, is eligible to be liberated from material bondage.
So in the previous verse it is said that with peaceful mind one will have proper vision. So Verse number 9 told about peaceful mind. Shanakai tasya mana prasidati. The mind becomes completely satisfied. The result of peaceful mind is samyak darshana, seeing things correctly with pure mind. So what do you mean by seeing correctly? Is mentioned in the next two verses. It says that Udasinam ivadhyaksham dravyajnana kriyatmanam kutastam imam atmanam yo vedapnoti shobhanam. One who knows the indifferent jiva. Udasina means indifferent jiva. Though jiva living in the material world, but the jiva becomes indifferent to the material world. At the superintendent of the mind, along with the 5 gross elements, all the bodily gross organs made by the 5 gross elements, gross organs, subtle sense organs, and sense devatas. Dravya, Jnana, Kriya, Atmanam. In the third canto and second canto, we discussed about Adi Daiva, Adi Bhuta, Adhyatma. Adi Bhuta refers to the 5 Panchamahabhutas, that is Dravya. Adhyatma refers to the 10 senses and intelligence, that refers to Jnana. Sorry, Kriya. And the sense devatas and mind refers to Jnana Shakti. That is Adi Daiva. So these three. Yes, these three. Yes. Dravya Jnana Kriyatmanam. So one who knows the indifferent jiva as the superintendent of the mind, along with the gross organs, that is Panchamahabhutas, subtle sense organs, the 10 senses and intelligence, and the 10 sense devatas, and knows the Paramatma, attains release from this world. Apnoti Shobhanam. That person only attains release from this material world. So one should know that Paramatma and also Jivatma and also Dravya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kira Shakti in the form of Adhyatma, Adibhuta, Adidaiva. So one who knows all these things properly very easily attain liberation from this material world. So this is the result of Sankhya. The same verse comes in the 26th chapter of 3rd canto. One who understands Sankhya properly will cut the knot of heart and easily attain liberation. He gets freedom from samsara. That is what mentioned there in the 3rd canto. So that is what is indicated here.
Knowing and realizing are two different things, right?
First of all, one should know to realize also.
Yes.
If knowing indicates putting in application and understanding. So there, in the very second verse of the 26th chapter, it says that Jnanam Nisyadarthaya Purushasatma Darshanam Yet Ahur Varnaya Tatte Hrudaya Granthi Bedanam. That Hrudaya Granthi, which binds a living entity in this material world, it's actually cut into pieces. And one will be freed from the bondage of samsara. So, 326 too. So that is the result of understanding the distinction between all these elements, the attaining perfection of Sankhya. One who knows the jiva, who acts without attachment in controlling the mind along with the sense objects, subtle organs and sense devatas, and also knows the Paramatma, easily attains release from this material world. So the word jiva indicates that though the jiva is not completely indifferent to the world, in the state of practice is aiming for perfection of jnana. While practice, one may not be completely indifferent to the world, but that should be the aim of a practitioner. While engaging in Nishtakama Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, this should be the aim. Becoming indifferent to the worldly attachments or worldly opulences. So in that way. So Prabhupada talks about the distinction between the body and the soul. The body is changing at every moment, but the soul is fixed. Therefore, the soul is called as Kutastam. The change of the body is enacted by the reactions of the three modes of material nature. One who has understood the fixed position of the soul should not be disturbed by the incoming and outgoing interactions of the modes of material nature in the form of happiness and distress. So, being indifferent means one should not be disturbed by the influence of the three modes of material nature. So, that is understanding. Then the question comes, how can the jiva be free of birth and death by just being indifferent to the body and senses while supervising them? So what do you mean? Just by controlling the body, mind and senses, one become indifferent to birth and death? Anyway, birth and death take place. How can we avoid that? Like that, one may question. So one question is, we may control the body, mind and senses, but we cannot control birth and death. They are more powerful than anything. So for that, answer is given in the next verse. How to control birth and death also. That means how not to get disturbed by the birth and death. How one can become easily overcome the birth and death.
Overcoming and not having is two different things, right?
Anyway, death will come. Jasasya dhruva mutyu dhruvam janma mutasya. But only one death will come now. Then one is attained liberation. There will be no birth. No birth means no death, no second death. So in that way. But how to get freedom from that? Pinnasya lingasya guna pravaho dravya kriyakaraka chetanatmana drushtasu sampastu vipassu surayo na vikriyante mai baddha sauruda.
Lord Vishnu told King Prthu, my dear king, the constant change of this material world is due to the interactions of the three modes of material nature. The five elements, the senses, the demigods who control the senses, as well as the mind, which is agitated by the spirit soul. All these taken together comprise the body. Since the spirit soul is completely different from this combination of gross and subtle material elements, my devotee who is connected with me in intense friendship and affection, being completely in knowledge, is never agitated by material happiness and distress.
Yeah. Just like in the previous verse, there is a discussion about Sankhya. Sankhya is all about the different ingredients with which we are made up of. Paramatma, Jivatma, gross body, subtle body, consisting of the senses, mind, intelligence, ahankarana, panchama, bhutas, all these things. So 28.
Yeah.
Understanding 28, one will be freed from the influence of three modes. So now the same thing is continuing. Lord Vishnu is continuing the same thing. Samsara takes place only because of the identification with the subtle body. Binnasya lingasya. As long as we identify with our subtle body, we continue to exist in this material world. Our samsara continues. Identification with subtle body means maintaining material desires, maintaining material aspirations or material ambitions to achieve them. Because all the desires, all the aspirations are stored in the mind. And one want to attain a particular status quo or position or whatever it is. That is the principal quality of ahankara, identity with something in the material world is ahankara. And then one want to exercise one's free will by making certain action plan. That is the activity of the intelligence. So like that, the mind, intelligence and ahankara are actively engaged. That will take one person from life to other life. Because gross body will be left at the time of death. But subtle body will be carried on with the soul into the next gross body, then next gross body, next gross body. So as long as one identifies with the subtle body, one will continue to exist in this material world. It is only when the subtle body is completely purified of all the material misgivings, one is ready to attain or one is ready to go back home back to Godhead. Till then, we may change hundreds of gross bodies. But till the time subtle body is not purified, one can never ever go back to Godhead. That's why we say Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Cheto Darpana Marjanam means purifying the mirror of the heart. Heart is the sitting place of subtle body. Man, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chetana, all these four are there in the subtle body, in the heart. So purifying Cheta, purifying the heart means purifying all these four: mind, intelligence, Ahankara, and Chetana. So it is like that. So samsara takes place only because of the identification with the subtle body, composed of what it is made up of. Subtle body is made up of intelligence, sense objects, sense organs, and sense devatas. Dravya, Kriya, Karaka, Chetana, Atmana. All these things.
Dravya also.
No, Dravya in the sense objects. Here Dravya is not the Pancha Mahabhutas. Desire for attaining sense objects. So in that way. Here Dravya stands like that. Because sense objects are subtle. Gross elements are gross, but sense objects are subtle. So in that way they are taken into. Intelligence, sense objects, senses, and sense devatas. All these combined together makes our subtle body. Though we study in Bhagavad Gita, subtle body means man, buddhi, ahankara. But according to Bhagavatam, subtle body consists of 5 jnanendriyas, 5 karmendriyas, 4 antakaranas primarily. And sometimes they also include 5 tanmatras also. So that means all 19 in one sense.
We are hardly leaving behind anything.
Grass body. We are leaving behind Pancha Mahabhutas. That much. So in that way. The devotees bound to me by friendship, my Baddha Sahurda, are not disturbed on seeing the happiness and distress of this world. So, till the second line, the Jnana is mentioned. Now Lord Vishnu is talking about Bhakti from the third line onwards. Surayo stands for devotees. Surayo means devotees. Vasudev is called Shauri, best of devotees. Not Sura. Sura is Devatas. Surayo means devotees. So in that way. So the ultimate point of Jnana is basically this only. As long as we identify subtle body, samsara continues. So the whole purpose of Sankhya is make us understand that our meditation should be not on the subtle body, but on the Paramatma. That is the ultimate aim of Sankhya, bringing us to that point, meditation of Paramatma, Paramatma, Paramatma. So, but on the other hand, the devotees do not have to go through these hardships of trying to understand all these things, trying to meditate upon Paramatma, all these things. They just have to develop one thing, Mai Baddha Sahruda. They should develop friendly attitude toward the Supreme Lord. Mai Baddha Sahruda. They are supposed to be bound by the well-wishing nature toward the Supreme Lord. That means I am ready to do anything for the Lord. So in that way, the devotee is bound with that mentality. So they don't have to worry about analyzing the elements, worrying about the meditation, worrying about all these things. That's how it is mentioned that they are not disturbed by seeing the happiness and distress in this material world. The devotees are never disturbed by the happiness and misery in this material world because they are already beyond influence of the 3 modes of material nature. Because they have firmly taken shelter of the Supreme Lord, they know I am under Lord's supervision. Lord will take care of me. What this misery will do to me, what the happiness do to me, like that, in that way. Samsara arises from the subtle body, which is different from the jiva. This is the difference. So this is the final conclusion of Sankhya. The gross body is different from subtle body. Soul is different from subtle body. And Paramatma is different from the soul. There is a gross body, then subtle body, then soul, then super soul. Like this clear-cut distinction is the aim of Sankhya. Sankhya facilitates one to understand the clear-cut distinction, what is what. Then they can focus on what is supposed to be focused on. They are not confused at all. So that's how Sankhya aims at giving proper understanding of what is what. But when it comes to devotees, they consider Lord is my ever well-wisher. So I am surrendered to Lord, Lord will take care of me. I don't have to worry about any dualities of this material world. So like that.
I was also thinking, like in Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter, when Krishna says, Kesho, Vikarastation, or Vyaktasakta. Those who are embodied, they cannot actually focus on these aspects because we are already having this bodily concept. So might as well worship Krishna and go beyond all these things rather than analyzing these things and then reach to Paramatma.
But some people are inclined to do that.
Yeah.
They are motivated by their intelligence. Those people have that kind of inclination. They want to do that only. They cannot do this.
But then the path is not easy for them. That's what I feel.
They want that. They want a hard way to get something. Then only they can say, I achieved something.
So that means they're not beyond. Still the false ego is there because
it's actually, it's not about their achievement is not in terms of material attachment, material achievement. When somebody want to achieve something within the material purview, that we can say false ego. This is bona fide ego only. They want to get something by their endeavor. They want to have the satisfaction of getting something by their hardship.
But at times with us, it is like this, that we are worshipping Krishna, we are chanting, but we are not yet there. We are not yet have that kind of connection with Krishna. Neither we understand this Sankhya philosophy as such. So we are in between, not completely established in bhakti, neither knowing the jnana aspect that much. At this stage, what is our situation?
Little bit know that also becomes serious here also. So that is the subtle body as a swarupa of the sense objects, the senses, sense devatas, and intelligence. So these are the different things part of the subtle body. So the meaning is this: by identity with the subtle body, the jiva undergoes samsara, and by detachment, one is liberated from the samsara. As long as one identifies the subtle body, one continues to stay in the material world. As long as one becomes indifferent to subtle body, one is qualified to attain liberation. This is the key of Sankhya. Though one supervises the subtle body is not at all harmful for the jiva. After understanding that subtle body is different from the Atma and Atma is different from the Paramatma, in spite of living in the body, in spite of overseeing the activities of the subtle body, one will not be influenced by the subtle body. Though he possesses and interacts with the subtle body, he does not identify with it. As long as one does not identify with the subtle body, one is not disturbed by it, one is not bound by it. So in that way, there is one example given in the third canto. The subtle body is like the children. Mother is there, children are there. Mother always considers children to be one's own. Something happens to children, she feel pain. If children attain something, she feel happy because of their identification. The children are like the subtle body. But one should understand that oneself is different from the children. Then there is liberation. So in that way, that is example. So one should understand like that.
It's very difficult to practice. I mean, even if you say, okay, we are not identifying the gross body. Okay, I'm not woman, I'm not man, I'm not black, white, Indian, American. That's we can still focus on. Me not being subtle body is very vague understanding.
It takes a lot of maturity to come to that point. And it takes a lot of practice also. It is not just by, it's not as easy as we read. Reading is something, it can happen just by moving the eye glances, but understanding it and implementing it is very difficult. So that needs a lot of practice. That's why they work hard from the childhood. These things are all taught in the Gurukul only. So with that teaching, they continue the entire life. Then after practicing like Bhaunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapatate Mam Sarmasudhyam Saram, like it's many lifetimes practice. It cannot happen over one lifetime. Nothing happens just like that. It is a hard practice required. Even in the case of Bhakti also nothing happens just like that. One need to work hard. It is everywhere. Whether one practicing Jnana, Ashtanga Yoga or Bhakti, hard work is required, without which one cannot attain. It is true. But this is the key principle. Detachment is the key principle. As long as we are attached to the gross body, subtle body, we continue our material existence. Until unless we become indifferent to it, we are not.
I remember Chaitanya Sharan Prabhu's class when he said that, we are practicing for years together and suddenly something comes and we just like bewildered that how, and then that deviation takes you so far from what you were. So he said at that time, you don't worry about that, whatever deviation, but you hold on to the anchor. But because these things come because we don't know how long we've been storing those impressions in our minds and how many lifetimes. This is what the biggest fear, that even we can't claim that, okay, I've practiced for 15, 20, 25 years, still I won't be deviated.
No, not
There
like
is
that.
no guarantee.
There is a guarantee that turbulence can come at any point of time.
Yeah.
But we should be trained ourselves that even in the midst of turbulence, we should not leave the anchor. We should hold on to our practices. We should not leave that.
Yeah, we continue.
Wherever we are, even though we may come down to lower position, hold on to our practices. So it will bring us up. So in that way. That's what Ravi said. The anchor is there everywhere. If one is going against the current of the river, one is kind of taken away along with the current.
Yes.
But wherever one goes, anchor is there. Hold on to the anchor there only. Not that anchor is only one place. Anchor is everywhere. But only effort we should do is hold on to that anchor, wherever we may be. So that is only.
Yeah, but then that's when the effort, it's like the snakes and ladder. You've gone to like 50, 60 numbers, again a big snake, and you're again back to 1, 2, or probably 0 like that. So again, you have to put all those.
That is test. It has been said that one can become free from samsara by striving for it by Bhakti Mishra Jnana, Swadharmena in verse 9. But by pure bhakti, by the practice of pure bhakti, even without striving for freedom from samsara, one attains that result that is stated in this verse. The jnanis and yogis, nishkama karma yogis, they endeavor to get freedom from samsara. But devotees are not interested in getting freedom from samsara. They are only interested in serving the Lord. Whether here in the material world or in the spiritual world, they only want opportunity to serve the Lord. So they don't have to worry about getting freedom from samsara. So this is the facilitated for devotees. The devotees are saved from that hardships to overcome the influence of three modes. They just need to engage in enakena prakarena manakrishna niveshe. So otherwise, sarvartakila chesta neto yagna chesta shinashanto muchanti sarvakil vishai. Yajnartat karmanu. So like that. That should be their main focus. Whatever we do it in service of Supreme Lord. That is one thing they need to endeavor. Remaining all not required for the devotees. So in that way. Here Prabhupada quotes a nice example of a business. A businessman has always in the thoughts of how to execute business, how to increase the business. Similarly, when a living entity always absorbed in the thought of how to serve the Lord, Lord will take care of him. They don't have to worry about all other things. Only one worry. How I will be in the service of Supreme Lord. How I will let me engage myself in the service of the Supreme Lord. That should be one thought they should have always. That will deliver them from the samsara. Just as a byproduct only. What to speak of delivering them from samsara? It will award them direct service of the Supreme Lord. Which is not for the jnanis. The jnanis only get the deliverance from samsara. They get Sahaja Mukti. They will never get service to Supreme Lord. But devotees, they get direct service to Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. That is much more than Sahajya Mukti. So in that way. The devotee is not disturbed by the material happiness and distress because he has no attachment for the material world. This is the key factor. A devotee has no attachment for the material world. Attachment can be multiple levels. What it means, every person may have different thoughts. Attachment can be gross objects like the wealth, bank balance, possessions. Attachment can be for the subtle things, puja la pratishtha. Attachment to position. So something like that.
Attachment for appreciation and concern is the deepest because
Recognition.
not exactly
That comes in the puja la pratishtha only. Puja. Puja is adoration. Others should recognize me. They should glorify me.
Not even glorification.
It is there. A glorification means appreciate me. So in that way. The reason for non-attachment is given. How a devotee can become non-attached to the material world? When he is bound to me by friendship. Mai Baddha Sauruda. When a devotee becomes attached to Krishna, they will become detached from things in the material world. So till then, the attachment to material world, things of the material world will go on. There is one verse, nice verse comes in the 10th canto. I just vaguely remember. 10th canto, first chapter only. I think Vasudeva speaks about it, or in relation to Vasudeva it is being spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. One of the two might have spoken it. Yavad ragadayastena Yavad ragadayastena. That means as long as sorry. Okay. Yavad ragadayastena. Attachment to material possessions will steal away our time, our energy, whatever. Yavad ragadayastena yavan kara graham graham. Then the house becomes karagruha. Yavan mohongri nigado. And one is overcome by the illusion. Tavan nate Krishna jana. Tavan Krishna jana nate. As long as one does not become Krishna jana, family member of Lord Krishna, that means Vaikuntha Vasi, till then the raga will steal away their valuable time and energy. The home becomes karagruha. That means attachment to the home becomes karagruha. And then the material illusion will acts like the daldal, will take them into, will succumb them in deep illusion. So like that is what is mentioned in the 10th canto first chapter. Either Vasudeva speaks or in relation to Vasudeva being spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. So it's like that. So the only way a devotee can become non-attached to this material world is being bound to me by friendship. This condition arises from pure bhakti, not from ordinary bhakti. By pure bhakti. This is stated in the third canto. Third canto talks about this. If you remember, recently only we discussed in the teachings of Lord Kapila. I suspect that this is from chapter 25. Lord Kapila gives the definition of pure bhakti. Anyabhilasha Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhanavrutam, that is there in the Nectar of Devotion. Similar definition is there in the Bhagavatam third canto. The verse says, Devanam Udalinganam Anushravika Karmanam Sattva Evaika Manaso Vritti Swabhavikituya Animitta Bhagavati Siddher Bhaktir Gariyasi. Vritti Swabhavikituya. Our primary nature should be our Swabhav. Vritti. Vritti means occupation. Swabhaviki. Vritti Swabhavikituya. Tu means but. Generally, the understanding is that we employ our body and senses in order to get sense objects. by the mercy of Devatas for our enjoyment. Instead of that, one should employ all one's senses and also the sense objects in the service of the Supreme Lord for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. That should be one's primary nature. Then one is said to be in Bhava platform. That is the platform of the pure bhakti. When one practices that kind of bhakti, one easily becomes an eternal associate of Supreme Lord. Rutti swabhavikituya siddhir bhakti gariyasi. That kind of practice is much superior than the entry into Brahman. Then what to speak of entry into Vaikuntha? How much superior that is? So that's how the comparison is given. So that is the glory of Uttama Bhakti or pure Bhakti. By that Bhakti, there is indifference to the subtle body easily. Because one is always employing in the service of Supreme Lord all the faculties. Animitta Bhagavati Uti Sabhayakutya. Sattva Evaika Manaso. The mind is only focused on Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, only serving the Supreme Lord. So in that way. So this bhakti, when one practices, one no need to worry about Sankhya, Yoga, Jnana, Karma Yoga, all these things. Just bhakti will take care of everything. So in that way. Hare Krishna, devotees are able to follow online?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Any questions till now?
No, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay. So basically till now, many of the verses Lord Vishnu spoke about from the point of your general interest, how by executing one's varnashrama duties, offering all the results unto Supreme Lord, one can attain the understanding of Sankhya. With that, one can attain liberation. On the other hand, by executing Uttama Bhakti, one can easily attain freedom from samsara and offering to serve the Lord in person directly. That is also indicated. Now, having told that one can attain indifference by being bound to me. Now Lord says that since you are bound to me by affection, you should follow my orders. So what are the orders of Supreme Lord explained in the next 4 verses? Next 4 verses talks about Lord's personal orders unto Prthu Maharaj. Samano tamamadya madama sukhe cha dukhe cha jitendriyashaya mayopaklipta kila loka samyuto vidasva virakila loka rakshanam.
My dear heroic king,
Continue.
Hare Krishna. My dear heroic king, please keep yourself always equipoised and treat people equally, whether they are greater than you, in the intermediate stage, or lower than you. Do not be disturbed by temporary distress or happiness. Fully control your mind and senses. In this transcendental position, try to execute your duty as king in whatever condition of life you may be posted by my arrangement. For your only duty here is to give protection to the citizens of your kingdom.
Yeah. The personal instructions how to take care of the citizens of the kingdom. So and how to lead his life. That is being indicated in the next couple of verses. O hero, being equal in happiness and distress, sama sukhecha dukhecha, treating high, middle and low living entities equally, samana uttama madhyama adama, controlling the mind and senses, jita indriya ashaya. Indriya stands for 10 senses, ashaya stands for sometimes mind, generally subtle body, man buddhi ahankara chetana, controlling the 14 senses fully. Equipped with all types of persons supplied by me. Please engage in protecting all the people. That means, since you are a king, you also have the ministers, soldiers. With the help of them, protect all the people properly. As a king, this is your duty. From your point of view, treat both happiness and distress equally, and treat high, middle, and lower living entities according to what respect they deserve, and also control your mind and senses, or senses and subtle body, or complete subtle body, and with the help of your ministers and others, take care of the people in your kingdom properly. It's like the overall instruction. You should be equal in material happiness and distress. You should treat equally those who are elevated, those who are ordinary, those who and take care of the people in general. Mentality. With that mentality, continue on taking care of your citizens. This should be your duty as the king. And personally, you should be able to control your senses and subtle body. You should treat both happiness and distress together. You should also treat equally those who are elevated, ordinary, and degraded in the gunas. Treating them equally means not that giving them equal respect, treating them appropriately. Whatever respect supposed to be given to them, giving them that respect means treating them equally. So that is the meaning of equal. Here equal means this kind of respect, and that person is that kind of respect. Giving them the due respect. See me? See the slides? Sorry a second.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see the slides, but in between your voice had gone.
Actually, internet is low. It got disconnected and connected back.
Thank you.
I'm connected back. Okay. So basically, the Lord is giving direct instructions to Prthu Maharaj. Do all these things that will help you and the people in general. So in that way. Shreya Prajapalanameva Rajno Yessam Paraye Sukruta Shashtamas Amsham Hrutanyata Ruta Punya Prajanam Arakshita Kara Harogamatti.
To give protection to the general mass of people who are citizens of the state is the prescribed occupational duty for a king. By acting in that way, the king in his next life shares 1/6 of the result of the pious activities of the citizens. But a king or executive head of state who simply collects taxes from the citizens but does not give them proper protection as human beings has the results of his own pious activities taken away by the citizens, and in exchange for his not giving protection, he becomes liable to punishment for the impious activities of his subjects.
One interesting point is mentioned. Why king should take care of the citizens very nicely?
Yes.
That is indicated here. It is most beneficial for the king to protect the population more than citizens. If the king does his duty properly, he gets the more benefit. We'll see how. Because he enjoys 1/6 of the pious activities of the citizens in the next life. Kindly imagine how many citizens can be there in the kingdom. If the king takes care of all the citizens properly, 1/6 of the piety of each and every citizen will come to the king. How much piety that is? Like yesterday we were discussing, when a devotee facilitates a program, how much benefit he will get? If 100 people attended that program, not 4. If facilitating the program, if 100 people are attending the program, 100 times plus the speaker plus himself. So in that way, that much. Same way here, just imagine how much time the king gets the credits. Otherwise, not protecting the citizens, they take his pious activity. The citizens will take his pious acts and he suffers their sin. If the king does not do his duty properly, the king will suffer 1/6 of the sinful activities of all the people. While I was reading this verse yesterday only I was preparing all these verses. I remembered one pastime which Maharaj told in one of the South India yatras in 2005 in Kanchipuram, while discussing about the pastimes of Ramanuja, his ancestors, the previous spiritual masters, the story was told. Alavandar, anyone remembers Alavandar name?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. It Maharaja told a story of
Yes.
Yamunacharya.
Yamunacharya. So his spiritual master was defeated by Vidyujjana Kolahala, one Jnani, one knowledgeable person during that time. So whoever they defeated, they're supposed to pay tax every year. So since his spiritual master was like a very poor person, he could not pay. And the disciples of that guru came, the Pandit came and told, very rashly spoke, where is your guru? He is supposed to pay taxes, otherwise come and submit to the king. He should become the maid servant of, not maid servant means servant of my guru. He should come immediately. Then Yamunacharya told that on behalf of my guru, I will debate with your guru. So Yamunacharya goes for the debate. Initially, there is some question answers are there. So that was over. Then Yamunacharya says that why are you asking small questions? Ask some meaningful big questions. If you want to ask, then that person, then he says that if you think that I'm a small boy, I'll keep you big elephant. At least then you ask big questions. Then that person becomes angry. You tell me what should I ask? And then he says that you only ask. You think you are so knowledgeable, you ask. Then Yamunacharya says that I will say something, you have to disprove it. I propose something, you have to disprove that. So Yamunacharya poses a question. The king is the most righteous person. So in front of the king, the debate is happening. And that Pandit has to prove that the king is the most sinful person. If he proves that king may do anything, king may cut off his head also. He becomes wild. How can you say that? How can you ask such kind of question? In front of the king, you are asking such kind of question. You are a foolish person. He requests the king. King, you immediately arrest this person and hang him to death. Something like that. But the king actually looks at the boy. The queen says, no, not like that. You give the opportunity to the boy. He will prove. Queen was siding towards the boy. The king was siding towards the Pandita. Then Alavandar says that when the king rules properly, he gets 1/6 of piety of all the citizens. When he does not rule properly, he gets 1/6 of impiety of the citizens of all the citizens cumulatively. Unfortunately, even though king may be pious person, in Kali Yuga, people in general are sinful. Because king has taken the responsibility of all the citizens, he will get 1/6 of their piety as well as 1/6 of their sin. More than piety, sin is more in the Kali Yuga. So king gets 1/6 of the n number of people. So personally, the king may be pious because he has taken the responsibility of the king, of the kingdom as the king. He will get the cumulative sinful quota of all the people. That's why he is the most sinful. One person might be have 1% quota of sinful, but here 100 people, it by 6. So that is like more than anyone else. That's why the king is the most unrighteous person, like that he proves. So I was remembering that. So that's how it is This is the biggest responsibility of becoming a king. As well, biggest responsibility of becoming parents also.
So asking that.
This is what Lord Rishabhdev tells in the 5th canto. 5th canto, he says that one should not become a devata, a guru, a friend, relative, or mother, father, or husband if one is not able to deliver the surrendered dependent. Samupeta mrutyum. If one is not able to deliver the dependent, one should not become the master of someone. In any aspect, master in the form of husband, or mother, father, friend, relative, deity, guru. That is the instruction. So, in that way. Protecting the population, the duty of other kings also. In the next line, in the next life, the king receives 1/6 portion of portions from the piety of the population. Otherwise, 1/16 of the people. Both, in one sense, he will get both piety as well as sin also. So king is entitled to get one everyone. So in that way. So this is the second instruction. The first instruction told that take care of the people properly with the help of all the ministers and soldiers. If you don't take care properly, you will get 1/6 of sin. If you take care properly, you will get 1/6 of the piety. That is the big benefit. Then third instruction. Evam vijagryanumatanu dharma pradhanonyatamo vitasya hrasvena kalena gruhopayatam drashtasi siddhan anurakta loka.
Lord Vishnu continued, My dear King Prthu, if you continue to protect the citizens according to the instructions of the learned Brahmana authorities, as they are received by the disciplic succession by hearing from master to disciple, and if you follow the religious principles laid down by them without attachment to ideas manufactured by mental concoction, then every one of your citizens will be happy and will love you. And very soon you will be able to see such already liberated personalities as the four Kumaras.
What will be the result of following the duties of a king in the proper order? That Lord Vishnu indicates in this verse. Being the leader in Dharma. In the previous purport, Prabhupada talks about the important duty of the leader. Whether one may be a king, parent, or spiritual master, the duty is to deliver the disciple from the clutches of material existence. If the spiritual master cannot direct his disciple to become free from the sinful activities, he becomes responsible for their sinful activities. Similarly, the parents also. Similarly, the king also. Everyone, in that sense, responsible. Same thing. Here also continues. Being the leader in Dharma, traditionally handed down and approved by the best of the Brahmanas, being unattached to your position, protecting the earth. There are a couple of things are mentioned. Being the leader of Dharma, Dharma Pradhana. The principal activity of the king is to follow the dictates of Dharma. Traditionally handed down in the parampara, coming down the father, grandfather in the disciplic succession, and approved by the best of the Brahmanas, under the supervision of the best of the sages, and being unattached to your position. The king should not be too much attached to one's own position. Instead, one should be attached to Dharma. This is what we can see in the character of Lord Rama, in the character of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yudhishthira Maharaj was not attached to kingship. He was attached to Dharma only. Same way Lord Rama also. So in that way. And with what they should do? Protecting the earth. Protecting the earth means protecting the every living entity that is there on the surface of the earth. Whether it is human beings, animals, plants, it is the king's responsibility to take care of everyone, not only the human beings. And being loved by the people, Anurakta Loka. When one takes care of the people, not only human beings, including all the living entities, everyone loves that king automatically. Such a king will very soon see the great saints, Drishtasi Siddhan, who coming to your house. The king no need to go out to see the sages. The great sages will come to your house in a short time. Rishvena Kalena. If you perform your kingly duties with the complete control of the subtle body, being dedicated to Dharma, unattached to your kingly position, following the instructions of the great sages and the Brahmanas, the great sages, saints will come to your home very soon. They themselves will come to your home. When Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling, their palace is always filled with lot of sages coming and going, coming and going. Why? Because they are such a wonderful devotees, devotee rulers. So in that way. Today Bhagavatam verse, it talks about Yudhishthira Maharaj was feeling sad that Dhritarashtra left home. The next moment Narada Muni comes. How did Narada Muni came to know about it? So it's like that. You will be the chief person engaged in Dharma, handed down and approved by the Brahmanas, knowledgeable of the scriptures. You will be unattached to all these things. Anyatama. A king is not supposed to be attached to the throne, not supposed to be attached to the kingly opulences, not supposed to be attached to the koshagar, the wealth in the, what you can say, treasury, treasure, and any other things. Dhritarashtra, morning is where Shavana Guru talking about Dhritarashtra only. He was completely attached to the Rashtra, the concept of being the king of the particular province. So in that way, one should not be like that. That should not be the mentality of the king. The king should be completely indifferent to it. Another version as Aikyapadya, that means the meaning is then being the chief person engaged in Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha as well. From the normal, from the world point of view, the king is supposed to engage in Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha and facilitate everyone to do these things. In general, Varnashram duties. So that should be the primary duty of a king. So by following that, the great sages on their own come to that personality. Why would all the great sages of the entire universe came to see Parikshit Maharaj when they came to know that Parikshit Maharaj has to die in 7 days? What was the need for them? Why would Sukadeva Goswami come to him at that point of time? Because he followed this kind of dictate. Result is, at the right time, when one is most needed, the great sages will come to that person on their own. So in that way.
In case of Parikshit Maharaj, practically the sages of whole world came.
Whole universe.
Universe. I mean,
In the case of Bhishma also, everyone came.
yeah.
When Bhishma was about to speak to Yudhishthira Maharaj, everyone was there for the more than a month time. So what makes that they are attracted to him? They all will come to him. That is, all depends on how a person lived the entire life. So that is that's how we have to see. Here, Lord Vishnu is indicating to king, perform kingly duties properly. Same thing we can apply to our life also. We need to follow our duties properly. That will attract the mercy of the great sages. So in that way.
Can I ask you what you said in the previous verse about the parents? You're saying that if you're not able to deliver the child.
I have not said. Lord Rishabdev told.
So in today's Kali situation, the children don't have inclination for spirituality, even though you may, pursue a lot. That means somewhere we are only failing. So how do you see it? I mean, is it that we haven't practiced well? What it is?
We don't know also now from the beginning. We started our bhakti much later.
Much later.
So we ourselves do not have that. At least from our point of view, whatever we can do, we do. Leave the rest to the Lords. What parents can do is to providing facilities. 1 second, Mataji. What parents can do is facilitating the facilities, providing the facilities. Taking up and not taking up Depends on their inclination also. So that's why now in the Vedic culture, all the samskaras are introduced. By following samskara, they are actually preparing that person, the person's mentality, to become favorable to the path of Dharma. So, in that way. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, in this respect, I had heard something from a senior devotee, and because I was also having this problem, what Mataji is facing. So if you allow us
Okay.
to share what I heard.
Yeah, please share.
Yeah. So he had told that it is not that we will bring our children completely to the our level of devotion or something, but we have given them what sanskaras what we want to give. Now whether that jiva will accept it or not, that also depends on his previous sukruti and his previous karmas. So it is not that if they turn devotee, then only we have done our duty as a parent to give them, seed of devotion. We have given them sanskaras, we have taken them to the mandir, we have told them if you chant, this will happen, means all those things. So whatever favorable atmosphere for the devotion, we have given them. So we have done our duty. Now it is up to Krishna and that Jiva Sukruti, that to what extent that Jiva will progress in the devotion. So if we don't tell only, then we are not doing our duty. That's what was explained.
Thank you, Mataji. Same thing. While you are telling, I was thinking that the parents can take the children to a school, admit them in the school. Later on, it depends on the teacher and the student. The teacher gives the knowledge, the student is supposed to hear and follow. The parents can inspire and provide proper facilities for their study at home. But it all depends on the student and teacher. Same way. The parents also can bring the student, their children, connect them to the parampara, and things will move on with the network. So now, having stated all these things, at the end, the Lord says that, so my dear Prthu, I am very much satisfied with you. By doing that, everyone will be satisfied with you. But at the current moment, I am satisfied with you. Since I have appeared here, I am ready to offer you any benediction. Ask for a benediction. This will be the last verse spoken by Lord Vishnu. Varam chamatkanchanamanavendra Purnishvateham gunashilayantrita Naham makairvair sulabhastapobir Yoge navaya samachittavarti.
My dear King, I am very captivated by your elevated qualities and excellent behavior, and thus I am very favorably inclined towards you. You may therefore ask me any benediction you like. One who does not possess elevated qualities and behavior cannot possibly achieve my favor simply by performance of sacrifice, severe austerities, or mystic yoga. But I always remain equipoised in the heart of one who is also equipoised in all circumstances.
Here he says one interesting thing. O King of men, ask any benediction from me. Varamcha matkanchana vrinisha. Please ask for any benediction. I am controlled by your qualities and the nature. Ahamte guna shila yantrita. I am completely controlled by your wonderful qualities and your wonderful nature. Generally, I am not easily attained by the performance of sacrifices, difficult austerities, or yoga. See, the goal of here austerities means jnana, yoga means ashtanga yoga, sacrifices means karma. By the performance of nishkama karma yoga, maka means nishkama karma yoga, tapa means jnana yoga, yoga means ashtanga yoga. What Lord will give? Sayuja. Lord will never give himself. That is easy to give something. It is like giving an object. Giving Sayuja means giving an object. But giving oneself means it is much more than anything else. So that's why Lord says that I am controlled by your qualities and your nature. I am not that easily controlled by the practitioners of Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga. Since I am situated in all their arts neutrally, in the heart of Nishkama Karma Yogis, Jnana Yogis, Ashtanga Yogis, the Lord is situated as Paramatma. Samoham Sarvabhuteshu Name Dveshosti Na Priyaha. But when it comes to devotees, Ye Bhajanti Tumam Bhaktya Maite Teshu Chapyaham. He will be controlled by the devotees like Prthu Maharaj, by devotees' wonderful qualities and their nature. So this is the important thing. The Lord speaks with mercy, without any mystery. I am controlled by your good qualities and your good behavior, because it is impossible for Lord to be controlled by material qualities and material conduct. King Prthu's qualities and nature were all spiritual, arising from bhakti. The material qualities and material conduct does not attract Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. Only the qualities connected to pure bhakti only attract Lord Krishna. That's why bhakti is called as one of the important aspects of bhakti is Sri Krishna Akarshini. Remember NOD chapter 1, one of the 6 qualities. Kleshagni Shubhada, Moksha Lagutakrut, Sudurlabha, Sandrananda Visheshatma, Sri Krishna Akarshini. This is the last quality. So bhakti attracts Krishna or Lord Vishnu. So Prthu Maharaj's qualities are not material, since they are spiritual, they attracted the Lord. He had qualities of mercy, forgiving, and had a nature of humility and affection. Some of the qualities of Prthu Maharaj I mentioned. He had the qualities of mercy and forgiveness towards Indra. And he had the nature of humility and affection. For subjects also, for himself also. Even for Indra, he had affection for Indra. He had humility for Indra. It will be shown next in a couple of verses later. It will say that he touches the feet of Indra and embraces him. And embraces him by the request of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu does not say that touch his feet, but since Indra is elder to him, he touches his feet and embraces him. That shows his humility. I am not obtained by other processes because I am situated in their heart equally or neutrally, as the observer, not controlled by them. Lord is there as a witness, Sakshi, in the heart of all Nishkama Karma Yogis, Jnana Yogis, and Ashtanga Yogis. But he is there as Bhagavan. He is controlled by the devotees. He is completely controlled by the devotees. So very soon we are going to have this Damodar month starting after Vijayadashmi starts.
Yeah.
Next month only, maybe couple of weeks later. The verse quoted in that regard is what is that? Drishtva Parishramam Krishna Krupayasi Swabandhani. Swamatu Svinnagatraya Vistrushta Kabara Sruja. Drishtva Parishramam Krishna Krupayasi Swabandhani. When Mother Yashoda was endeavoring very hard since morning, maybe around 7 or 8, it is already noon. Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna by bringing rope after rope, rope after rope, rope after rope. Still Krishna is not bound, but her whole body was wet with sweat. That hard labor attracted Krishna, and Krishna became compassionate and allowed himself to be bound by Mother Yashoda. Drishtva Parishramam Krishna Krupayasi Swabandhane. Same way, when Lord sees our hard work in executing our bhakti, he will be controlled by our bhakti. He will allow that he will be bound by us. So it's like that. That is understanding. All our practices, all our sadhana should be aimed at this one point. We should attract Krishna's mercy by displaying our surrender. through tireless endeavors. So in that way.
There are 26 qualities listed in this book.
Nice. So Prabhupada talks about Lord openly says that he is not controlled by performance of sacrifices, performance of austerities, performance of yoga and all. He is only controlled by bhakti. That bhakti awards all wonderful qualities. Yasyasi bhaktir bhagavati akinchane sarvai gunai satra samasate sura. Harau abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorati davate asato bahi. Prahlad Maharaj says in the 5th canto, offering praise to Nrsimhadev. Whoever has bhakti will have all the qualities of devatas. These are the qualities of the divine personalities. The 26 qualities of a divine personality are these are elaborated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita talks about all these qualities very elaborately. So in that way, the Lord is satisfied by the development of the transcendental qualities of the living entity and not by the artificial performance of the sacrifices and mystic yoga. In other words, unless one is fully qualified to become a pure devotee of the Lord, one cannot expect to be liberated from the material entanglement. Even 12th chapter also says, 12th chapter verse number 13 to 20, all the wonderful qualities of a devotee are mentioned, which satisfy the Lord. There also it is mentioned. So in that way. So Lord becomes easily satisfied by the wonderful display of these devotional qualities by a devotee. So in that way. So that's how Lord Vishnu in general, in specific, and in personal gave instructions to Prthu Maharaj. So all different variety of instructions were given to Prthu Maharaj. So now, then what happened? How Prthu responded to those instructions? Maitreya uvacha Saitam loka gurunam Vishvaksena Vishvajit Anushashita Adesham Shirasa Jagrihe Hare.
The great saint
The
Maitreya,
great continue, Mataji.
the great saint Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, in this way Maharaj Prthu, the conqueror of the entire world, accepted the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead on his head.
When so instructed by the Supreme Lord, with the Guru of the entire universe, Loka Guruna, Anushashita, the Supreme Lord, Hare Vishwaksenena, who is the Loka Guru? Lord Hari. King Prthu accepted the instructions on his head. Whatever instructions Lord gave, he kept all the instructions on his head. Like that, he will lead the rest of the life following those instructions. The Lord's name is Hare Vishwaksenena. Hare Vishwaksenena. Lord is also addressed as Vishwaksena. One of the names of the Supreme Lord. He is also one of the expansion of the Lord. Just like in our traditional things, all the activities we start with worship of Lord Ganesha. Within Vaishnava community, especially Sri Vaishnavas, they worship Vishwaksena first. Then they continue the activities. So Vishwaksena himself expanded as Ganesh, like that they say. In the material world, Ganesh is there. In the spiritual world, Vishwaksena. So, like that they say.
So in one sense, he is the expansion of Lord Vishnu only. Instruction. But still, he is considered as the expansion of Ganesha.
No. Lord expanded as Vishwaksena, who is also a Vishnu Tattva, and he expanded as Ganesh in the material world.
Vishwaksena expanded this.
Vishwaksena expanded as Ganesh in the material world. That's why in relation to Varnashrama duties, any activity we do, any sanskara we do, first there is worship of Ganesh, then all the rest of the proceedings will happen, whether in the marriage or namakarna or anything. But when it comes to within circle of Vaishnavas, they worship Vishwaksena first, then they move on with the samskara. So in that. Ganesha is replaced with Vishwaksena. So in that, especially Sri Vaishnavas. Sprushantam padayo premna Vriditam svena karmana Shatakratum parisvajya Vidvesham visasarjaha.
As King Indra was standing by, he became ashamed of his own activities and fell down before his lotus feet. But Pruthu Maharaj immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him for his having stolen the horse made for the sacrifice.
So what did he do afterwards? He kept the instructions of the Lord on his head. So what do you mean by keeping the instructions of the Lord on his head, on one's head? Prabhupada explains that in the previous purport. One should accept the instructions of the Supreme Lord by bowing down at the lotus feet of the Lord. This means that anything spoken by the Supreme Lord should be taken as it is, with great care and attention, and with great respect. Should be taken as it is, with great care and attention, with great respect. It is not our business to amend the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or make additions or alterations, as it has become a custom for many so-called scholars and swamis who comment on the words of Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada says one should take the meaning of Bhagavad Gita as it is. One should not interpret in different way. So that's how Prabhupada connects it to it. So now in the next verse, what does it mean following the instructions of the Lord? Prthu immediately does. Affectionately embracing Indra, who was ashamed of his action of stealing the horse, and touched his feet, Sprishantam Padayo, and gave up hatred towards Indra. Prthu immediately embraced Indra, touched his feet, and gave up hatred towards Indra. We should take it in the opposite order. First, he gave up the hatred towards Indra, then touched his feet, then embraced Indra. So like that. That's how he responded to the instruction of Lord Vishnu. Yes, Mataji, somebody was saying something?
Prabhuji, Indra touched the feet of Prthu Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Indra will not touch. Indra is elder, na? It is said. Even
It is
I
said
read
in
that. Yes. I read it. So, but in the notes which I made in the slides, I put it in the other way. Why would Indra will touch the feet of Prthu? From the general custom point of view, it is not acceptable. Indra is the leader for the entire three planetary systems. And Prthu is the king of the only Bhumandala only. How could Indra will touch?
Because he made such blunder, so he was ashamed of himself. Therefore, he did that.
See, regret is more than enough. They don't have to physically enact all those things. It is not that. We have discussed this in the previous chapter also. Why Brahma told Prthu Maharaj only stop the yajna, not Indra. For now, Indra has become stubborn. So you stop. You don't have to do it. So in that way. Because now we are discussing about Prthu. We are not discussing about Indra. It is more appropriate to say that Indra, Prthu touched his feet. That's what is mentioned in the previous one. Prthu showed the humility. This is the humility. Because I kept this in mind and kept it there.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
But Prabhupada, the purport says ki just like Amrish Maharaj, Durvasa Muni fell down in the feet of Amrish Maharaj. Durvasa Muni is higher in this thing, isn't it? So he fell down Amrish Maharaj's feet. So similarly, Indra fell.
There the situation is about life and death. I will see again whether he really fell down or not. He came and requested for protection. Because Lord Vishnu told you, please go to Amrish Maharaj. Amrish Maharaj, he only can save you. So he came down. Of course, he could have fell down also. That is not an issue. But see, my understanding is that here from custom point of view also, general society custom point of view, Indra is the ruler of the entire three planetary systems and Indra is elder in age. So it is not appropriate. If at all he wants to touch also, how could Prthu allow him to touch his feet? Prthu will never do that as a most cultured person. So Prthu touching Indra's feet is good. Even though elder makes a mistake, but touching his feet is not a wrong thing.
Prabhupada
And
has explained
but
in the purport.
No, I understand that. But did we
No,
ever
no.
discuss that Indra really made a mistake? Did Indra made a mistake?
Yes, from
Yes,
the
yes,
external point
yes.
of view, say he was making a mistake, no? By creating apadharmas and all, upadharmas.
How otherwise how will Dwapara Yuga will start?
Yeah, so external point of view, say he was doing it. External point of view, I'm not saying for starting Dwapara Yuga, but from external point of view, he was making a mistake, isn't it?
So that was our focus from the very beginning. We are not criticizing Indra. We are trying to give due respect to Indra.
It's not criticism, Prabhuji. We are looking from the pastime point of view, say. From
Yes,
that
yes.
point of view, say, we are saying ki Indra, actually, if you see, Indra was doing something which is not correct, isn't it?
No, he is doing appropriate thing only.
Yeah, you're saying from the starting of Dwapara Yuga point of view, say. Right? But external
Yes.
point of view, say, if anybody sees this, that means he has made this thing, isn't it?
He is simply acting a drama, enacting a drama.
Yeah, I understand that everything was a drama which is enacted, but externally it was like then you would say Brahma came and pacified Prthu Maharaj. So that is also drama.
Then now the same question. Why did Brahma did not say even a word to Indra?
Because that's what you said.
Indra,
He was,
why are you doing
was
all
a
these
stubborn
nasty things?
person. You said he was a stubborn person, so that's why he pacified Prthu Maharaj. And Indra had to stay for the entire Manvantara, isn't
That
it?
is
So
that is just to pacify Prthu. He told like that. Since he is stubborn, I will not ask him. So I am asking you. Just to
yeah.
pacify Prthu, he told that. Does it really Indra is stubborn?
Yeah,
Does it indicate
actually,
that Indra is really stubborn?
yeah, 10 times he did it means.
And no. It's not like that. It is all need to be happen. It happened. Of course, I am not saying that. See, that is okay. If from the external point of view, Indra had made a mistake, so he touched the feet of Prthu Maharaj. That is okay, acceptable. But since the discussion we are doing from the very beginning, giving due respect to Indra, so from that point of view, and also to glorify Prthu Maharaj. See, is it not glorification of Prthu? He has not done mistake. Indra made mistake. Still, he himself is forgiving Indra and touching Indra's feet. Is it not a greatness of Prthu? Is it not glorification of Prthu?
Prabhuji, you've got a soft corner for Indra.
Actually, no, it is not soft corner. It is more glorification of Prthu than Indra.
Okay.
The translation say.
What does the context say? Here we are trying to glorify Prthu. We are not discussing about Indra. We are discussing about Prthu Maharaj. In what context Prthu's glories becomes excellent? If Prthu touches the feet of Indra.
Does Vamandev touches, does Indra touches Vamandev's feet?
Where?
Yes, I'm asking.
I don't remember. Is that situation is there anywhere?
Because Vamandev is supposed to be who?
Younger brother of Indra.
Younger brother, right? But still he's Vishnu.
Vishnu.
So what does Indra do then? Does he
He did not touch. From the society, moral point of view, his elder brother, why would touch? Krishna touches the feet of Yudhishthira Maharaj.
That is there.
He touches the feet of Bhima also.
Yeah.
That is social custom.
That is Krishna. Krishna can do. Here I'm saying, when you are saying that
here Prthu is also expansion of Vishnu, Indra also expansion of Vishnu. So don't see only mistakes from Indra's point of view. They are not mistakes. They are neither circumstantial, they are not pre-planned mistakes. That is the will of the providence. It has to happen, it happened through the medium of Indra. So it is like that.
Even Prabhupada said that he did not want Indra to fall at his feet. Instead, Prthu immediately picked him up, even probably before he fell at his feet, and embraced him.
So that is what we generally see in our temples when devotees come together. One wants to touch the feet of other one will say no. They will hold their hand. They will try to touch. So it's like general Vaishnava custom.
Yeah, this is Prabhupada has explained the same point here that he did not allow Indra.
At the end, out of the two, Prthu became successful by touching the feet of Indra. He did not allow Indra to touch his feet, but he touched the feet of Indra because Indra is elder to Prthu. And Prabhupada also wrote that Indra bent down to touch the feet of Prthu, but did not allow him. He kind of embraced him immediately. So that they don't touch the feet, something like that.
Yes.
Sprushantam padayo premna vredita svena karmana shatakratum parisvrajya vidvesham visasarjaha. We should take vidvesham visasarja. He has given up envy towards Indra. Then sprushantam padayor premna, out of affection or with affection, he touched the feet of Indra and then parisvrajya, embraced him. This is the sequence of events. Even when Brahma told him, that time only gave up hatred towards Indra. It is already done. But since Vishnu told specifically, now again, if any trace of hatred is there towards Indra, that is also given up. Previously, Indra was not there. Now Indra is standing in front of him. So he is given up that, immediately bent down and touched his feet and then embraced him. This actually shows the glory of Prthu Maharaj. Without any fault on his part, still he is taking the position of the victim. Not victim, what we can say? Subordinate. No. He is taking the responsibility on himself that I made a mistake. That I developed a hatred towards Indra. I developed a desire to kill Indra. For that, he is begging forgiveness from Indra. So like that we should say. So this shows the glory of Prthu Maharaj. So from that point of view, you kindly see. Here we are neither minimizing Prthu nor glorifying Indra. We are trying to appreciate Prthu's wonderful qualities. That's what pleases Lord Vishnu. That means we should understand that we should also respond like that. Even though when there is no mistake from our side, when there is 100 mistakes from other side, we should not expect sorry from them. Instead, we should say sorry to them and touch their feet and beg forgiveness from them. That quality will please the Lord. Then I not made mistake. He should say sorry to me. He is wrong. He made the mistake. That kind of attitude will not please the Lord. So this is one lesson we should
I'm sorry,
see.
Prabhuji. I'm sorry, Prabhuji, for saying against.
Thank you, Mataji. I also said sorry.
Bhagavan ata Vishwatma Prthu nopahrutarhanam samujjanaya bhaktya. Sorry, samujjihanaya bhaktya grihita charana muja.
King Prthu abundantly worshipped the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was so merciful to him. While worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Prthu Maharaj gradually increased his ecstasy in devotional service.
King Prthu offered all items unto the Supreme Lord. Whatever worshipful items are there, everything offered to Lord Vishnu, who is the soul of the entire universe, Bhagavan ata Vishwatma, and grasped his lotus feet, Grihita Charanambuja, with ever increasing bhakti, Samujji Hanaya Bhaktya. So basically, since Lord Vishnu came all the way there, he performed Arati. Offering all the articles means performing Arati from our point of view. That is what we can relate to. He performed Arati and then within the core of his heart, he hold on to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu very tightly. He does not want to give up the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at any cost from now on. So in the next verse, we will discuss about one important aspect, that is the result of Prthu's response to Lord Vishnu's instructions. Giving up hatred towards Indra, touching Indra's feet, then embracing him and holding on to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. All these things pleased Lord Vishnu so much. Lord Vishnu, who was supposed to leave this place and go to Vaikuntha, does not want to leave this place only. And he does many other things which he never does generally. That's how Prthu's nature controlled Lord Vishnu. Kindly see from that point of view. We'll see. Prasthanabhimukophyenam anugraha vilambita pashyan padmapala saksho na prataste suhrussatam.
The Lord was just about
What
to
was
leave, but because he was so greatly inclined toward the behavior of King Prthu, he did not depart. Seeing the behavior of Maharaj Prthu with his lotus eyes, he was detained because he is always the well-wisher of his people.
See, the Lord with lotus eyes, Padma Palasha Aksha, who is the friend of all the devotees, Suhru Satam, is the well-wisher of his dearmost devotees. Seeing Maharaj Prthu was delayed by his feelings of mercy, Anugraha Vilambita, as he was about to leave and did not depart. If Indra touched the feet of Prthu, Lord Vishnu would have lived immediately, would have left instantly. Okay, matter is settled, I am leaving. But on the other hand, Prthu touched the feet of Indra and embraced him, gave up all any trace of hatred unto Indra and held onto the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu and kept all the instructions of Lord Vishnu on top of his head. Looking at all these wonderful things, Lord Vishnu does not want to leave Prthu. See how much is controlled by Prthu. This is how Lord becomes subservient of his devotees. Same thing we saw in the first canto also. After the battle of Kurukshetra was over, when Lord Krishna wanted to leave, Kunti Maharani offered prayers. He was waited. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj came down and told, my dear Lord, you are leaving even everything is like this. Then he stayed back for some time. Then he took the Pandavas to Bhishma. He stayed for 2 months. In the meantime, they were hearing from Bhishma. Then all the other things happened. All these things happened. Then he came back after Bhishma thing is over. He stayed for another 2 months because Subhadra is lamenting for the separation from her son, Abhimanyu. Like that, he stayed back, eventually left. That is how Lord becomes subservient of his wonderful devotees. The Lord who was supposed to leave immediately to Vaikuntha, he did not leave immediately. He stayed back. And he will stay for some more time because now Prthu is going to offer prayers. He will listen all the prayers of Prthu. Then he will award some benedictions unto Prthu. Then he will leave after a long time at the end of this chapter. He was supposed to leave at the beginning only. Just like in the 7th chapter, not 8th chapter beginning only Lord Krishna was supposed to leave. But he left in 10th chapter. 10th chapter leaves Hastinapur. Actually, 11th chapter he leaves Hastinapur and enters into Dwarka. So like so many chapters in between, so many months passed. So that's how Krishna is controlled by devotees. The extraordinary mercy of the Lord has been described. Now the extraordinary bhakti of King Prthu is described. So till now, Prthu's, what you can say, the Lord's mercy towards King Prthu is presented. Now how King Prthu's bhakti control Lord Vishnu is present in the next verse. What Lord Vishnu would not do normally, he is doing now. Sadiraja Rachitanjalairharim Vilokitum Nasakadashrulochana Na Kinchano Vahasabashpa Viklavo Hrudopaguhya Mumadadavastita.
the original king Maharaj Prthu, his eyes full of tears and his voice faltering and choked up, could neither see the Lord very distinctly nor speak to address the Lord in any way. He simply embraced the Lord within his heart and remained standing in that way with folded hands.
The first king with folded hands, tears in his eyes, could not see the Lord. So Lord was getting ready to depart. So Prthu is standing, not standing, kneel down on his knees and with folded hands, looking at Lord Vishnu, but not able to see the Lord because the eyes are filled with tears. Because his voice was choked, he could not speak. He wanted to say a few words unto Lord Vishnu, but his mouth is, no, not mouth. He could not speak only because his voice was choked. He remained standing, embracing the Lord in his heart. He remained there only, embracing the Lord in the core of his heart, embracing the two lotus feet of the Lord in the core of his heart, while Lord Vishnu is getting ready to depart. He could not see the Lord because of that torrents of tears. He could not speak the glorification of the Lord because his voice was choked up. So like that, he remained standing, embracing the Lord in his heart. So in that way. So this is how Prthu is responding. On the other hand, how Vishnu is responding? Atavamrujja Shrukalavilokayam Atrupta Drugocharamah Purusham Padas Prashantam Kshitimam Shaunnate Vinyasta Astagramuranga Vidvisha.
The
Supreme Person.
Continue, Mataji.
The Supreme Personality of God, with his lotus feet almost touching the ground while he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Maharaj Prthu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus, the king offered the following prayers.
The previous verse talks about the symptoms of Bhava displayed by King Prthu, Bhava and Prema. So now the response of Lord Vishnu is shown. What did Lord Vishnu do? Wiping away his tears, Prthu saw the Lord visible to his eyes, which could not be satisfied. Atrupta drug gocharam. That means slowly coming to his senses, Prthu wiped out his tears. Then he started seeing the Lord. The Lord Swami is so attractive that he wants to see more and more. But the Lord is getting ready to leave. So he is feeling so much dissatisfied. I will not be able to see the Lord after some time. On the other side, the Lord's feet were touching the earth. Pada sparshanam kshitim. The Devatas do not touch the ground. Then what to speak of the Lord Vishnu? But here, being controlled by the love of Prthu Maharaj, Lord's feet are touching ground. Generally, Lord always sits on the Garuda or stands in the air. He never touches the ground. For the first time he is touching the ground, he has become out of balance. He could not balance himself. And his hand was placed on the elevated shoulder of Garuda. He is taking the support of Garuda so that he can stand properly. He is. It's like Lord also going through the same emotions. It's not that Lord cannot stand, because he's going through emotions, he could not stand. So in that way, like that we should take. If the devotee is expressing symptoms of Bhava and Prema, Lord also will express similar symptoms. So in that way. He saw the Lord who had become visible to his eyes, which could not be fully satisfied, and who touched the ground with his feet. Sridhar Swami explains that the Lord's feet do not touch the earth. However, controlled by extreme mercy, the Lord forgot himself and his feet touched the earth. Lord forgot that he is Vishnu. He is completely controlled by Prthu Maharaj. He is standing on the earth and is out of balance. Just to balance himself, to keep himself from stumbling, he placed his hand on the shoulder of Garuda. He took the support of Garuda.
This is Vishnu Chakravarti.
Prabhupada also. Paraphrased version of all the purport points. So this is the reciprocation that is taking place between the Lord and a devotee. So it's like that. So Lord responds, out of affection for Prthu Maharaj, Lord Vishnu touched the earth, but he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, as if to prevent himself from falling down, since the Lord is not accustomed to stand on the earthly ground. Unless until he appears as Avatara, he does not stand on the ground. Avataras walk on the ground. But Lord Vishnu, when he comes personally, he will not stand on the ground. Even the Devatas also don't touch the ground. When they come in the self-same body, in their self-same form. When they come in the incarnation form, they will act like the normal human beings. So it's like that. See the dynamics, how it's happening. Now tell me, Indra should touch the feet of Prthu or Prthu should touch the feet of Indra? So now Prthu is offering prayers unto Lord Vishnu. Because Lord Vishnu is not leaving now. He wanted to stay for some more time to spend time with Prthu. So taking the advantage of that, Prthu is, in the previous verse said that Prthu wiped out his tears so that he could start seeing Vishnu. And now he also becomes sober so that he can speak something. He has become sober and is speaking the prayers. These prayers are also very important. So we will discuss few prayers today and we will continue in the next class, the remaining prayers. Varan vibhota dvaradeshwarat buddha katam vrinite guna vikriyatmanam ye narakanam apisanti dehinam tani shakaivalyapate vrinena cha.
My dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods who can offer benedictions. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benedictions meant for living entities bewildered by the modes of nature? Such benedictions are available automatically, even in the lives of living entities suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence, but I do not wish to have such a benediction.
Varan vibhotvad varadeshwarad vibho. My dear Lord, you are Varadaraj. You are Varada Ishvara, the best of the givers of benedictions. O Lord, how can an intelligent person, Katam Buddha, because previously in the conversation, Lord Vishnu told that Twadrisha, Ka Buddha, what kind of intelligent person, what kind of person like you will ask for material things, we'll see in terms of the body, we'll see in terms of the other things, etc. etc. Then he is responding same way. How can an intelligent person ask for benedictions from you, the Lord, who gives all benedictions? So what do you mean? One shouldn't ask any benedictions to Lord Vishnu? No, not like that. What kind of benediction should not be asked from Lord Vishnu? That is the indication. O Lord of liberation, Kaivalyapate, I do not ask for those benedictions which exist for people in hellish existence. E narakanam dehinam apisanti. Whatever benedictions that are easily available for the people in the material existence, which he says narakanam. That means here this is actually the happiness of Swarga according to Prthu Maharaj is narakanam santi. Those people who are aspiring for the happiness of heavenly abodes, according to Prthu, he says that this is hellish existence. With minds which are a transformation of the gunas. O Kaivalyapate, O Lord of the Liberation, I do not ask for those benedictions, such as the heavenly happiness and all, which are available even for the residents of the hell. That means those who are asking for the benedictions of the heavenly happiness are actually in the hell, according to Prthu. So like that he's saying. How can an intelligent person ask? A foolish person will ask for material boons. An intelligent person will never ask for the material boons from the Lord, especially. Asking for sarga, asking for swarga and such things are the boons of the materialists with minds created by the transformation of the gunas. Those people who identify with their body, gross body, subtle body, they only aspire for heavenly happiness. But you already told me not to identify the gross body, subtle body only with Atma and Paramatma. How can I ask benedictions for? Benedictions like the materialists. So in that way. O Lord of Kaivalya, even the person desiring liberation does not ask for the boons, does not ask for these boons. He says that by addressing Lord Vishnu as Kaivalya Pate, he says that even those jnanis and yogis and Nishkama Karma yogis who are desiring liberation does not ask for the heavenly happiness. How can I ask heavenly happiness? Then he says that even the person desiring liberation does not ask for these boons. How can I accept them? Since I cannot tolerate the name of liberation. Whatever it is, he says that when I do not want Kaivalya also, how can I ask Sarga happiness? Even liberation is unattractive. What to speak of material enjoyment for me? So like that, my dear Lord, though you are offering so many benedictions, I am not interested in the benedictions. I do not want Kaivalya nor the happiness of Swarga, which is like Naraka for me. So this is how what he does not want, he says very clearly in this verse. And the next verse he says what he wants. Hare Krishna, devotee is able to follow?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Yeah.
It's
He is
Prabhuji.
basically saying that. Sorry?
Yeah, one thing I was a bit confused about is like why he's talking about like Lord is not saying that I want to give you liberation, I want to give you heavenly pleasures and all that. So, and nor is he desiring for it. Then why still he is mentioning it? That I was a bit confused. Like,
No. You remember Lord's instructions? If people follow Varnashrama duties as an offering to Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord will be satisfied, then Paramatma is satisfied, Atma is satisfied, mind is satisfied. They will become detached. And if they continue like that, they will attain Brahma Kaivalyam. Lord told about it, how to attain Brahma Kaivalya.
that respect is saying that. Okay, thank you.
In relation to that, he's telling.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
However, do not fear. So here the discussion goes on. However, do not fear that I will ask for liberation on hearing me address you as Kaivalyapati. My dear Lord, don't think that I am addressing you as Kaivalyapati so that I am interested in asking for Kaivalya. Don't think like that. I have addressed you with the word Kaivalyapati with the intention of saying that give it to those who take pleasure in merging into Brahman. You give Brahman, those who want Brahman. Though you have already instructed the procedure to attain and enter into Brahman, give it to for them only. So, because you can give Kaivalya to the people who are interested in that, you are Kaivalyapati, you are the master of Kaivalya. That is mentioned in the next verse. Nakamayena tatadapi aham kvachin nayatra yushmaksharanambujasava mahattamanta hrudayanukachyuto vidasvakarnayutameshamevara. So here Lord asks, so how can you say that? Why you do not want Kaivalya? Why are you saying that give Kaivalya to only those people who want? Then what do you want? Two questions Lord Vishnu asks. Why you do not want Kaivalya and what do you want? That Prthu says in this verse. Yeah, now someone can read the translation.
My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1 million years For thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees.
Why Prthu does not want Kaivalya and what Prthu really want. These two things are indicated in this verse. Na kamaye nata tadapi ham kvachin. I do not desire anything, and especially I do not want liberation. He is clearly indicating that Na kamaye nata tadapi aham kvachin. I don't want anything, and especially I don't want liberation. Lord Vishnu asks, why? Why you do not want anything else and why you do not want liberation? There are hundreds of people are asking for liberation. Why you do not want? Prthu says, in liberation, there is no, inside Mukti, there is no nectar of your lotus feet. Nayatra Yushmat Charanambu Jasavam, coming from the hearts of great devotees, Mahattama Antar Hrudayan, and falling from their mouths. The nectar of Lord's lotus feet is stored in the hearts of pure devotees, and that nectar will come out when they speak. Because devotees keep Lord's lotus feet in the core of their heart very tightly. That is where the nectar is there. When they speak, the nectar will come out of their mouth. And this nectar is not there in the Sayuja, in Brahman. The opportunity to associate devotees and hear Krishna Katha is not available in Brahman, because in Brahman everyone is meditating individually. Everyone is in Samadhi state. They are simply absorbed in their individual meditation. There is no mutual discussion in Brahman. There is a peaceful existence in the Brahman. No discussion, no Shravanam, no Kirtanam in Brahman. Only meditation. So Prthu says that there this opportunity is not there. There is no opportunity to hear or to taste the nectar which is coming out of the mouths of your pure devotees who keep your lotus feet tightly in their heart, where the nectar is available. Therefore, then what do you want? वो तो ठीक है, बट क्या चाहिए आपको? विदस्व कर्णायुत मेषमे वरा. My request is that give me millions of years. So Lord might say that, okay, you don't want Swarga, you don't want Kaivalya, you want to stay here? Yes, I want to stay here, but ask for something. Give me thousands, millions of years. What do you want to do with the millions of years? You don't worry. I will do whatever I want. Just give me millions of years. That is my request. So like that, he is telling to Lord Vishnu. You have asked me to ask for anything, but in general, I do not desire anything. Especially, I never desire, even in the worst misery, the benediction of liberation or Kaivalya, entering into Kaivalya. Why? In liberation, there is no honey of your lotus feet, no sweetness of talks about your qualities. There are no discussions of Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila in Kaivalya. That's why I don't want. They are coming from the hearts of great devotees and dripping from their mouths. The discussions about Krishna Katha are dripping from the mouths of great devotees. Those topics are being sung out of great bliss, experienced in their hearts. The pure devotees experience great bliss by keeping Lord's lotus feet in their hearts, and that bliss comes out of their mouth in the form of Krishna Katha and Krishna Kirtan. And that is not available in Brahman. Just as Bhagavatam became sweeter coming from Sukadeva Goswami's mouth, when the great devotees relish your topics, they become even sweeter. The Bhagavatam, which was sweeter, became more sweeter because it came out of the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami. Similarly, the Krishna Katha or Krishna Bhajan, when it comes from the mouth of great devotees, it becomes more sweeter because they speak after relishing it. So in that way, the opposite should also be understood. Just as sweet water becomes distasteful when entering salty earth, By adding some salty mud, the sweet water becomes distasteful. Similarly, the qualities of the Lord become disgusting when they come out from the mouths of non-Vaishnava. Sarpochistam. Though Krishna Katha is pure, but when it comes from the mouth of a non-Vaishnava, it becomes contaminated. It should not be heard. Because they do not relish the Krishna Katha, they simply speak. They do not relish. So in that way.
Just not the word you use, that means many times we have heard that Prabhupada says that don't hear from the professional reciters. It's like having poison. Snake's mouth. This term is there.
Chaitanya Charitamrita Prabhupada many times mentions about it. Sarpochistam. Not so much in the Bhagavatam, but Chaitanya Charitamrita it comes. Then what do you want? Give me millions of years. What do you do with them? Because there are unlimited talks about the Lord's qualities are going all around the world. I cannot give up even one among all the topics being sung anywhere by anyone about any subject concerning the Lord. So millions of devotees are discussing about you at different places. I want to hear all the kathas simultaneously. For that, I want millions of years. Please give me that. Out of great greed, I desire an infinite number of years. This also indicates that I desire ears and other dear senses which those desiring liberation desist. Not only ears, I also want to have millions of eyes with which I can see unlimited forms of you which are there at different places simultaneously. I want to have millions of tongues with which I want to taste Krishna Prasadam coming from millions of temples. So like that. One word is indicated here, the millions of years. That also indicates all the senses in millions of numbers. So that you can get the opportunity of doing all the activities of bhakti simultaneously in relation to all the places, all the times. Do you not want anything else? This is my wish and nothing else. Koi aur ichha nahi. So like that. So that's how Prthu Maharaj expressed his desire. What he does not want, why he does not want, what he want, and why he want. So all these things he clearly mentioned. And starting from the next verse, we will discuss next class. So then the next verse will be spoken to a question by Vishnu. Why do you not desire liberation, which is very rarely achieved, even by the great knowers of truth? This idea is expressed by ironic condemnation, Vyajasuti. By quoting Vyajasuti, Prthu will tell that why I do not want liberation, which is rarely attained. Even liberation is not that easily attained. It is also very rare. Even that liberation I am not asking for. Why? That he will explain in the next verse. So we'll stop here. It's already 4 o'clock. Thank you very much for joining on this Sunday also. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All of you are
Thank
able
you
to
very
follow?
much. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
निरंतरा
Prabhuji.
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्तवृंद की जय।